I'm sad to think we're coming toward the end of the program, but nonetheless, fun to be had. So last but not least, our final presenter, before we do a little Q&A and then present the certificates and gifts, is the wonderful Martin. And I have to say, I was talking to Martin last night, we had a little social, and I had so much fun getting to know Martin over the year, and I'm really excited about what he's going to be talking about, because I think it's hysterical having known Martin over the last year. So, come on up.
Hello everybody, I'm really happy to be here, and I would like to share some of my story. I would like to start by telling you that I wasn't a big fan of cold showers before the Institute. Now I am. Well, that's one thing that's definitely changed. And being in line with this is that I'm also a big fan of cold calls now. Some of you might not know what this is, but in the business world, if you want to be known, you should put yourself out there and tell people that you're there, that you're alive, that you have a business. And I talked to George Bransky, a wonderful 3 principles teacher, and he told me, well, Martin, if you want to build your business, you better start cold calling. And roughly 1 year ago, before the Institute, you could have chased me with that. It was like, go away, don't tell me about this. I just don't want to do it. And I realized through the 3 principles that all my thinking about what does cold showering mean, what does cold calling mean, is irrelevant. Just like, I love quoting Aaron, it's irrelevant. That's what he's been telling me in the supervision. It's terribly irrelevant. And that's so true, and it's very relieving. So sometimes the missing link, of course, the missing link, just as Sidney Banks would, one of his books is called The Missing Link, is thought. But what's the content of thought? That's also interesting. And once you can see that mind wants to help you, mind wants to help you to get along in life in a beautiful, friendly way, in a loving way. And once you can see that mind is your friend, that the thoughts that keep on coming to you, that might not be the ones you expect or the ones you want, but oftentimes if you check back, you can see that mind's been wanting to help you all along, from day one. My topic's going to be, it's okay to be lazy, and I had the feeling when James and Steve were talking that they covered everything about that. So if you don't get what you expected from my talk, just refer to their talk. I would like to start by telling you that being lazy can mean anything for different people. So most of the time when you say, oh, it's okay to be lazy, you can still be successful, people will tell you, well, who's going to carry down the garbage? Who's going to, if you're a couch potato all day, you won't be successful. But that's not what I'm alluding to. What I'm alluding to is that it's the busyness of your mind that differentiates between I'm a lazy person or I'm a busy person. So just as James was saying, you can be sitting on the outside, running on the inside, or you could be running on the outside and sitting on the inside. So that's the difference. Also, during the lunch break, I had a conversation with a friend, and I realized in that moment that being lazy can mean for some people to do work. It can, for some people, mean to lie on the couch. So the problem with the question of am I lazy, am I doing enough, isn't about what you do on the outside, but it's about your definition of laziness. So that gives you the opportunity to get your head out of the rope and I don't know if you can say that in English, but you know what I mean. You know, you get out of the trap. You get out of the trap of thinking that, you know, I'm not doing enough, or should I do more, or should I do less? Because it becomes irrelevant. It really becomes irrelevant. And I chose the title of my talk because I wanted to show you that once you let your personal thinking drop, just like in a snow globe, you know, snow globes have these little artificial snowflakes inside, and once you put them on the table, they will settle down, and that's the same that will happen to you if you let it. If you let your personal thinking drop, your resiliency will come up, new solutions will come up, and it doesn't always happen. Sometimes I get caught up in my thinking. For example, this morning I went to Tesco with my sister, and she's very environmentally conscious. And the guy at the cash desk, he was going to give me a bag, and she said, "You don't want this bag." And I was really upset, and I said, "Please leave me alone right now, I need this bag." And I was really, as you know, that's the thing about the 3 principles. You still feel embarrassed, you still feel angry, you still feel off balance, you still feel off kilter. But a lot of the times, it just happens much faster that I get back into balance, that I feel fine again, you know. And even my sister, she just said when afterwards I kept on telling her I'm so sorry, and you know what's going on. She just said, "Oh, come on," you know. So I could see that while I've been a student of the Institute for 10 months, for example, my sister and all of you, everybody, we live from our wisdom all of the time. And if you look back to your life, it was just like that before as well. Now you could ask yourself, what would be the point of going to the Institute? And one of the funny things I came up with during one of the supervisions was that I said to Mara and Aaron, "Oh, if I had known that I'd be doing the same things after having signed up for the Institute, I wouldn't have signed up," you know. But I think what's important is that it's not true that you're not human anymore after you've come across the 3 principles. That would be madness. But what's different is how I deal with my human experience. That's the difference. I know that I'm always fine, even if I'm grumpy in the morning. I know that I'll have clarity of mind coming back to me if I let it. So just like this, what my fellow students have been saying, it's true for me as well, that the speed of how fast you go into a quiet mind is so much faster. It's so much faster, and you don't get hung up by all the petty stuff during the day or during your weeks or months that you live. I mean, that's a huge thing. You might think like, oh, it's not so important, but for me, I was really all over the place before I came across the 3 principles. And I would like to end with the biggest insight I have, which was so powerful for me. I'm a psychotherapist and a coach. And before the 3 principles, I was in psychotherapies as a client myself. And what the therapist told me was, you have a problem, let's work on your problem. Through the 3 principles, I realized I don't have any problem. And sometimes I have to admit that I really would have liked somebody saying to me, you're fine, Martin, 100%. It's not like 99.9% or 80% or whatever, but like 100%. Everything's fine with you. And I was struggling with depression. And my biggest insight, even before the Institute, but that was also a reason why I joined the Institute, it was that my depression is an illusion. And that was huge for me, you know, huge. I started psychotherapy when I was in my 20s, I had another one when I was in my 30s, and I had my last one when I was in my 40s. And I think that what my therapist did, it was innocently done. I don't think they wanted to harm me, but now when I work as a psychotherapist and a client comes to me and tells me I'm depressed, I just tell them, you're completely mentally healthy and you have no problem. I will explain to them why that's the case, why that's true. Can you imagine what difference that is to work from as a psychotherapist? You know, not believing that they have any problem, even if they come into your practice and tell you I'm suicidal or whatever. Of course I take them seriously. But the basis, the ground I'm working from now has completely shifted, and that's thanks to the Institute, thanks to the 3 principles, thanks to my teachers and my fellow students. So I would like to leave you with the knowledge that you're 100% fine. Thank you.